So here's the real question. How do dentists like you, who aren't willing to let insurance dictate how you will run your practice, who want to create incredibly profitable practices without sacrificing your time or sanity, how do you create the strategies to ensure your practice not only survives, but thrives in the 21st century? That's the blaring question. And Dr. Steve Schalintz is here to provide the answers. Welcome to Dental Practice Freedom Radio.
What is up, everybody? This is Dr. Steve Schalintz. I want to welcome you back to another episode of Dental Practice Freedom Radio. And today I am going to talk about bonuses and why this one bonus system could be actually killing the profitability in your practice. Now, I must admit I've never been a huge fan of bonus systems, and there's very specific reasons for that. I never really wanted to create certain types of competitions, and that's what we're going to talk about today is hygiene bonus systems. I never really wanted to create competition between hygienists, and I never really wanted to have them be solely driven by their hygiene production. Now, I know this is a contrarian view. I know a lot of people that are very successful in having hygiene bonus systems, but I'm going to talk to you about why I don't think they're nearly as beneficial when you're talking about doing more comprehensive dentistry. I view hygiene as a segue and a leadway to more complete care. I don't view hygiene as a clean center, right? The reality is the hygienist role should be a coach. It should be an educator. They're not a cleaning station, right? This isn't a car wash. And what I've seen from other dentists, when you start to have a purely based hygiene production bonus system, right? So they're going to make X, and anything over X, they're going to get Y as a bonus. That, in my opinion, does one thing. It makes it more important. The cleaning becomes more important than the education part. And that just doesn't make any sense to me. So I guess if you're doing a hygiene bonus system, you have to have some way to accommodate for treatment planning in that. So if they diagnose more, they're going to get an incentive to do that. Now, some dentists would say, well, that's, now you're diagnosing unnecessary dentistry. No, I mean, there's ethics that go into it. And honestly, if you're doing that long enough, you're going to get in trouble, right? If you're diagnosing and doing unnecessary dentistry, the universe has a kind way of reminding you that that's probably not the best thing to do, right? It's called lawsuits. But the reality is, I'm a big believer that when you start to incentivize hygienists for pro fees, for PANs, for x-rays and things like that, those things are all very important, but they're not going to be the main driver to profitability. I'm going to give you a great example. So, I talk to a lot of dentists around the country, and everybody's offices are a little bit different. Here in North Carolina, you can only have 2 hygienists per dentist, right? So it's very hard to drive a hygiene-driven office in North Carolina compared to some offices where you could have 3 or 4 or 5 hygienists if you wanted, right? Yeah, I guess you could run a hygiene mill if you wanted to do it that way. I never had a desire to do it that way, but we can't use lasers here. We can't have our hygienists can't, give anesthesia. There's just certain things that we can't do in the state, and I'm sure other states are similar. And so it changes the business structure. But more importantly, the reason that you guys are listening to this podcast is most likely you want to do more complete, comprehensive care. You want to make a greater impact for the patients that you serve. And you have to start asking yourself the question, if I do a pro fee every 6 months, is that really going to help my patient? And that is a philosophical debate in and of itself. I fundamentally believe that most cleanings, if you taught your patients how to effectively brush and floss your teeth, cleanings can be done like never, right? But let's say every year or every 2 years, not every 6 months. The 6-month thing is just something that was made up. Insurance has embraced it, and now dentists embrace it because they get reimbursed every 6 months to do a cleaning, right? So the reality is, if you're going to do a bonus system, and I'm playing around with this, so don't assume that I actually know what is going to happen as a result of this. But I said, if I'm going to try a bonus system, I want it to be a complete team. And it's going to be based on collections, And in my practice, the number one way to increase my collections is to do more comprehensive dentistry. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody needs a full mouth rehabilitation, but what it could mean is a shift away from that single tooth to quadrants, to making sure that it's my time is maximally, it's maximally productive, if you will. So when I am there, if I'm there 3 days a week, I want to make sure that I'm doing dentistry those 3 days a week. I don't want to be spending a lot of time on single fillings and things like that. You could bring in an associate if you want to. I've done that in the past. I'm now back to myself. And so, that single restoration, if it needs to be done, I'm going to do it. But usually those single restorations could be converted into, quadrants and taking care of things. And patients actually appreciate that. Listen, these things are going to break down probably in the next 2 to 3 years that are around the thing that we're doing. We can go ahead and take care of them now, or you can choose to wait. But, if it was my mouth, I'd prefer to get it all done in one visit and not have to come back here 6 times. That's up to you, though. But here's the thing. When you do a team bonus, right, everybody's connected, right? The office is successful because the team's successful. So if the hygienists are competing for production and then they want to do more focus, let me backtrack for a second. If you think about it, if you told your hygienist, I'm going to incentivize you based on your production per visit, you know what they're going to do? They're going to become very, very product-oriented, not service-oriented. They're going to be promoting that toothpaste and the fluoride and this and that. And the reality is you can build a hygiene center off of things like that. But when you provide fluoride and you provide, and maybe you do sealants, I don't know. And these things are all important. I'm not saying that, but those take time away from what could be the education process. So if you put fluoride in teeth, maybe you get $40 for 2 minutes of fluoride. That's great, right? But what if that 2 minutes was shooting intraoral videos or shooting intraoral camera shots and talking about the need for complete dentistry? Hey, you have tooth wear here. How much does that concern you? See, the problem when you do a hygiene bonus system that's purely on production, they don't produce when they do that. So do you think they're ever going to do that? No. And then you wonder why. Well, they never talk about that full mouth stuff. They never talk about tooth wear. They never talk about sleep apnea. They never talk about things that, would lead to more complete care for the patients that I'm serving. No, because they're not getting paid on that. They're getting paid based on what they produce. So you have to be very careful about the bonus systems you put in and the unwanted consequences of that. So for me, the only bonus system that I would ever do is a team bonus system based on profitability in the practice. It's not even based on production solely, right? There's a ton of ways that you can increase production in your practice. That doesn't make you more profitable. That just means you increase your production. It's something that I talked about a couple episodes ago on focusing on profitability and not production, right? So you want to make sure that if you are incentivizing your team, it's based on profitability in your practice, and it's based on a team goal. That's just my common philosophy on all of this stuff. And it might not even be a financial incentive. It might be a team trip. It might be something like that. But find out what your team is truly looking for, and then create a bonus system as a team on that thing that most of the team is looking for. For some, it might be a trip. But I know in my practice, a lot of my team members still love a financial bonus. I know people say, well, money doesn't motivate people. I'm going to tell you what, money can motivate a lot of people, right? Money motivates people when they don't have it. And so that notion that, people aren't motivated by money, true to a point. But you have to remember most of your hygienists and your assistants and your front office, they're making anywhere between $20, $15, $20, $25, $30, up to $40 an hour. And if you're in my practice, we only work 3 days a week, and 2 of my team members get paid 4 days, and they do some administrative work on Thursdays, and the rest of them get paid on 3 days a week. I don't know too many jobs that can pay you enough to sustain at $30 an hour working 3 days a week, right? So this is something that I think a lot of people, they go, well, they're not driven by money. Maybe not, but they could be, and that's something you want to find out with your team. You do want to reward them where they want to be rewarded. And then you can start to set team goals. That is the key to driving growth. It's not hygiene production bonuses, right? It's team bonuses. And if you have a bonus system, I'd love to hear about it. If you guys have stuff that's working well, please let me know. This is something that I'm experimenting with, so I don't know what's going to end up being a result of doing this team bonus. I've noticed a significant level of involvement that's increased in the last 3 weeks as a result of it. We're on track this month, only doing no comprehensive dentistry, no complete cases, just bread and butter dentistry. We're on track to have our best month ever. I don't think there's any mistake that has something to do with the fact that I'm incentivizing my team now. I don't. And so if you can increase your profitability by $15,000, $20,000 a month as a result of something simple like giving them $2,000 out of that 20, wow, I mean, that's a big difference. And when you have a small team, that really is a big difference, because if they're getting an extra paycheck at the end of the month for $500, that could be 2 to 2.5 days worth of pay. That's a big bonus for them. And, I know some people have said, well, you got to do it quarterly or annually because you can have a 1-month blip. Well, that's true. But you know what? Most people, they don't think long term. I don't think long term sometimes. And so your team members are looking, they're literally, most of them are surviving from paycheck to paycheck. So to say, well, annually we're going to give out a bonus, that's just too long. Semi-annually, too long. Quarterly, maybe. But again, that once a month, we're going to give a bonus. That gives them involvement. That gives them this tangible result that they might be looking for. And by functioning as a team, you live and die by a team. Those are the only type of goals that I want to set in my practice. So hopefully you heard me rant about this and you got some value out of it. And if you are running a hygiene production bonus system and it's working really well for you when it comes to then you being able to do more complete care, please let me know about it. Send me a message, say, hey, you're totally wrong. I'd love to hear what you're doing. I just have not seen it work too effectively when it comes to doing complete care. So guys, have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys are getting value out of this, as always, go leave a review and a rating on iTunes. That'd be greatly appreciated. And you can go to dentalsalessecrets.com and get my free webinar on how to become much more proficient and increasing your case acceptance and doing more complete care in your office. So you guys take care. Have a good one, and I'll see you at the next episode.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode on Dental Practice Freedom Radio with Dr. Steve Schlitz. We'll see you on the next episode.